Welcome into the 2025 Twin Cities Film Fest, sponsored by Stearns Bank. I'm Blythe Whealy, hosting the red carpet here at the Marcus West End Cinema. I'm joined by our closing night spotlight film here, Lost and Found in Cleveland. We have the writer, director, producing team here of this film. We're going to start alongside me right now. This is Keith Gerchak, and you did all of these, like I just mentioned.
Yep.
And also we have Marisa Guterman, and you also, both of you, just so impressive. Great job. But I want to start with just getting a brief overview of your film, make sure everyone's up to speed on what this film's about.
Yeah, it's inspired by Antiques Roadshow and the idea of it coming to Cleveland, and it's an exploration of the American dream and what that looks like today through 5 storylines all coming together at the magic of that show, and it's a journey of self-worth.
Well, I loved it. Like I said, great job with this film. And I'm also curious for both of you what this looked like for the writing process. Maybe what inspired you to want to write this film?
Sure. I'm so sorry my baby's having a bit of a meltdown. Her first
she's
red carpet.
beautiful.
Vivian, say thank you and goodbye. The movie is really kind of inspired by Antiques Roadshow, and it's something that I grew up watching with my dad. And I'm from LA and was very enamored with these people in the middle of the country bringing in their most treasured objects and kind of learning their stories. So the film it's a bit of a best in show, but it's got a lot of heart in it. A little bit of a Wizard of Oz too.
And Keith, I know you're from Cleveland, so I'm
I
sure
am.
this played a little bit into that, but also that's too funny. But was there anything else that you'd add to that just because you were from Cleveland that you wanted to base it there?
Yeah, I mean, Marisa was from Los Angeles, and now we've swapped. She lives in Cleveland, and I live in Los Angeles.
Wow.
But she had said she didn't want to set it in LA because that seemed boring, and I said, well, I'm from Cleveland, and she laughed, and I said, don't laugh. You cannot make fun of Cleveland. You've never been there. And she got converted. Now the joke's on her because she moved to Cleveland. And that's the impact that the film has, is it's earnest, and it's a love letter to the Midwest and Midwest values, and just everybody's dream is just as important as the next person's, and that's something that's explored in the film.
Well, be prepared, everyone. You might want to move to Cleveland after this film, It sounds like.
Minneapolis is pretty great, though.
Yes.
We do love it here.
But also, Marisa, I want to know just what this looked like. You had a rich ensemble in this film. It was so impressive. Everyone brings something so distinct. What was it like working with the icons, Martin Sheen and June Squibb?
Martin is just a legend, but he's also the kindest person that you've ever met. And you feel the weight of him doing an 8-minute monologue. It's kind of like, oh, wow, this is Martin Sheen. And so there's something just iconic about it. You can't deny it, even though he's the kindest, most down-to-earth person. And then June Squibb, we wrote this for June over 10 years ago, if you can believe that. And June's having a Squibb-assance right now. Everyone's saying that. And we're really lucky to be part of that. And I think she's doing something really different and dynamic in this role. It's an intimate performance. It's a funny performance. And she's just kind of like exactly what you'd want her to be as a person, so we feel really lucky to have had her in this.
Yeah, and one of my favorite parts was her line later in the film. I won't spoil anything, but June Squibb made me laugh so hard in this. Can you talk about maybe a behind-the-scenes moment? It doesn't necessarily have to be with June, but what was something really fun about this film that happened behind the scenes?
I think we had a lot of fun every day. I think Keith and I, having made the film, cast the film, written it, directed it, every day was new and different, and if we weren't crying, we were laughing.
I think that's really true. I mean, things happened on set where you would lose an actor, you would lose a location, and it always turned out that whatever we had to replace it in a very quick period of time was better than what we originally had. So the film kind of had a life of its own. It went on its own timeline, and the things that fell into place fell in a way that we could never have even imagined.
And maybe even if you go back to casting, what was that process like when you were trying to nail this down with some of these characters? How difficult, or maybe just how simple that you didn't realize it was going to be as simple getting these characters?
We're actors. That's our foundation. So writing the characters, we really, they were real people to us, and so we heard their voices very clearly. And the opportunity about being a filmmaker is that you get to put your own stamp on something. So casting was something that we we're excited to do. And like we said, June, we had written the role for June. We had written the role for Dennis Haysbert, but everybody said, oh, you'll never get Dennis. So we didn't bother because, how many no's can you hear? And then with this 48-hour crisis and Dennis swooping in, it's kind of just like, things go how they're supposed to go, and the casting process is just one of those incredible things.
Yeah, these actors wanted to work with each other, and that was the beautiful thing, was that they read the script, it touched them in a way, it resonated, it was a side of them that a lot of them had not been able to express on screen, and that they all wanted to work together as an ensemble, and to have two presidents, in a scene opposite each other from TV, now on screen in a film together, it was a wonderful thing. These are actors.
Like Santino Fontana, who's here with us tonight. He's amazing.
And Ben Steinhauser,
Oh
who
my God.
is a star, and we can't wait for the rest of the world to see what he brings in this role.
And I also want to know, when you think about just even yourselves with this film, of course, if you have an antique, I know I talked with some of your actors about that, but was there an antique in particular that maybe inspired this film?
There are
Yes,
a few.
many. You wanna share
Many.
your story?
Yeah, I mean, one of them, my grandmother collected coins so that her grandchildren could go to college. And I was the only grandchild, and I had a free ride to college. But when I decided that I wanted to pursue this as a career, I had to sell my grandmother's coin collection. And when I was doing it, my mom found me bawling my eyes out, and she said, "Why are you so upset?" And I said, "This is the last tether that I have to my grandmother. If I sell this, I won't have anything physically left." And she said, "Your grandmother's American dream was for her grandchildren to realize their own. If this career is your dream, then you're honoring her dream by pursuing your own." This film is the outcome of that coin collection for me on a personal level.
Well, I'm so glad I asked that, because that is such a wonderful story of just how that lives on and moves on throughout your life and throughout everyone else's. But on behalf of Keith and Marissa and their film Lost and Found in Cleveland, thank you so much for both of you being here on the red carpet.
Thank
so
you.
much. This was so
We're
much
honored.
fun. We had a blast.
Well, that does it here from our Twin Cities Film Fest red carpet. I'm Blythe Whealy. Thanks so much for joining us.